I've been paying so much more attention to the products that I use on my skin lately. It's probably because I'm getting older, and also it's the winter here in New Hampshire. So, boy, if you're going to look wrinkly, you're going to look wrinkly in New Hampshire in the winter. I've been so enjoying the Osea products. I love the anti-aging Osea Dream Night Cream. I mean, like slathering it on my face. But I'll tell you, the Osea's Undario Algae Body Oil, it's one of their best sellers for a reason. It was a 2025 Allure Best of Beauty winner. It feels so good. I put it on right out of the shower. My skin is just a little bit wet. I didn't used to use body oil when I was younger, but I'll tell you now, it feels fantastic. I put it on, I get dressed, my skin feels and looks better. It's less wrinkly. These products are clinically tested, and they are designed to deliver visible results. It's really become part of my skin ritual. They've done studies with women age 25 to 65, and 100% showed a significant improvement in moisturization and skin elasticity. 100% agreed that the skin looked firmer and less crepey. I'm looking for less crepey. And 100% agreed that their skin felt softer and smoother and more supple. I'm in that 100%. So get a spring-worthy glow with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now we have a special discount just for our listeners. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code FLUSTER at OseaMalibu.com. When somebody is having a panic attack, they are desperately trying to calm themselves down, to get rid of the symptoms, to feel better. And if you're with somebody who's having a panic attack, even if just a little bit in your voice, you're like, okay, you need to calm down. You just need to relax. You're going to be fine. You are doing the same thing that they're doing in their head. So the message you want to give them very simply is, I think you're having a panic attack. This will pass. I'm going to sit here with you until the adrenaline works through your system.
Welcome to Season 8 of Flusterclux with Lynn Lyons, where we talk about managing worry, anxiety, and all the other emotions too.
I'm Lynn Lyons. I'm an anxiety expert, author, speaker, and mom. I've been a therapist for 35 years, and I'm still in the trenches with families, helping them navigate daily struggles and big problems. Parenting can be a flusterclux, but we tackle the serious stuff without being too serious.
I'm Robin. I'm Lynn's sister-in-law and co-host, and I'm here to ask your questions.
And I'm Ed, the producer of Flusterclux.
And my brother.
And my husband.
Anxiety is a family problem with a family solution. Hey, Robin.
Hi, Lynn.
We're going to talk about panic attacks today.
Okay.
And people make interesting differentiations between sort of anxiety attack and panic attack and what's real and what's not real. And I have very often said that people use the term, and young people in particular, use the term panic attack very loosely. Oh my God, I had a panic attack, or I'm having a panic attack. So I want to clear up some things about panic attacks, but more importantly, based on a listener question that we got, I want to talk about what you do about panic attacks, what a panic attack is. We've talked about panic attacks before, but I want to go over it again, and I want to add some helpful, insightful instruction about panic attacks.
I remember when we did that episode, learned a lot as usual. Let's just start with the definition. What is the definition of a true panic attack? Because it is a very commonly used word that has no meaning anymore.
Right. So a panic attack is a state of arousal where your body fires off its fight or flight or freeze system in a big way. And so it actually is not all that unique in terms of anxiety. It's really a matter of degree to me when somebody says, I'm having a panic attack. The symptoms are really powerful. One of the hallmarks of a panic attack is people will say it came out of nowhere, which I'm going to have something to say about that. People often feel like they're going to die. They believe that this is a life-threatening event. They do not have any hope or faith that this is a passing thing. I mean, they are convinced that this is the end. And in fact, about 40% of people who go to emergency rooms believing they're having a cardiac event are actually having a panic attack. Is it anxiety? Yes, it's anxiety cranked up, but it's not really anything special or unique when we know how anxiety works. It's just how it takes hold. And the other thing too that's interesting is that if you have what's called panic disorder, which is one of the anxiety disorders, having a panic attack doesn't give you the diagnosis of panic disorder. Living your life to prevent future panic attacks is what meets the criteria of panic disorder. And we're going to talk about that too. So I want to inform, but I also want to dispel some myths. And I also want to take panic attacks out of this special category that it has, like this special status that we give real panic attacks, true panic attacks. I'm going to knock them down a few pegs because once we understand them, they're not all that different than all the other things I talk about.
Just take a typical person who's trying to manage their anxiety. They definitely have worry. As the definition you have shared, they elevate many things to emergency, so they're kind of in a heightened state.
Mm-hmm.
But like they're still a functioning person. But then that person has a panic attack. What's going on differently physiologically between like their normal worried day and a panic attack moment?
They have set off their fight or flight system in a way that's pretty extreme. So they have gotten a really big bag dose of norepinephrine and epinephrine or adrenaline and noradrenaline. And so their physical symptoms feel more powerful. And then here's the key, which we're going to talk about. They start freaking out about the fact that they're having physical symptoms. And that's what knocks them into another category. So panic attacks are very often a reaction to what you would say, okay, so you're having anxiety or you're having a worried day or you're a little stressed out, like you're going into a job interview and you're like, oh my God, I get so nervous during this. And then you start freaking out because of the symptoms. And that's when it picks up into what we refer to as a panic attack. It happens very quickly. But the way that panic attacks get so controlling, the way that they take over your life, your response to the symptoms of anxiety, your fear of the symptoms themselves, bump it up to another stratosphere.
Let's read the listener question.
Okay.
What is the best advice you can give to someone that has real panic attacks? Just funny, not fake ones, but real ones.
Yeah, not those baby ones. Not those pretend ones, but a real panic attack.
They become short of breath, pounding heart, and they say they feel like they're going to pass out. Anything medical has been ruled out. These are true panic attacks that seem to come out of absolutely nowhere. How can they help themselves make the attack dissipate more quickly?
Okay.
So this is someone writing about their teenager, I assume.
Yeah.
Or their spouse.
Or themselves, right? I have a friend who, but this listener is trying to figure out how to help. Already you hear in her language, we're not just talking about a run-of-the-mill anxiety talk. We're talking about a real panic attack. Okay. Again, we don't have to treat them as if they are in this special category, and we don't have to freak out about them. Interestingly, when people believe that their heart is pounding, they'll say, oh my God, my heart is pounding. I'm going to have a heart attack. My heart is freaking out. Their heart rate is generally around 80, which is really not that high. So their heart rate is not like 150 or something like that. It just feels like it is. They get short of breath, of course. If you think about the symptoms that I described when I'm talking about that anxiety cycle, it's the same symptoms. Heart rate goes up, breathing gets shortened quick. You tend to feel as if you're lightheaded. You think you're going to pass out. Panic attacks actually increase your blood pressure, so you don't generally pass out. People think that they're going to, but they don't generally pass out. When we say they come out of nowhere, and sometimes people will say they wake up in the middle of the night in a full-blown panic attack, or they open their eyes in the morning and they start having panic. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you're having a full-blown panic attack, there is probably something going on in your sleep. If you wake up in the morning and you begin to feel a panic attack coming on, there usually is some precursor to that is more internal than external. So you wake up and you immediately think, oh gosh, I hope I don't panic today. One of the things we know about people who tend to struggle with panic attacks, not everybody, but tend to struggle with panic attacks, is that they have a really hard time expressing emotions, or they're afraid of their emotions. say you have somebody who was raised in an abusive household, or they were raised by a parent who said, I'm going to give you something to cry about, or you think this is hard, I'll show you what's hard. And they learned that they had to really suppress their emotions. And if they showed their emotions, then they might have gotten abused. They might have gotten mistreated. Those people, when they feel anything, begin to panic. When they feel any discomfort, any physical symptoms that might be connected to anxiety, if they feel as if they're vulnerable, if they feel as if they might be under attack, so to speak, those people tend to be more susceptible to panic attacks because they panic at the fact that they are feeling something, or that they are going to show emotion, or that they're in a vulnerable state. So when you look at panic attacks, very often these are people who are trying to not have any symptoms at all, trying to get rid of their feelings, feel very vulnerable and uncomfortable, and then it escalates very quickly.
Let's take a break and we'll come right back.
I have been a user of Masterclass for many, many years now. And one of the things I love is that when I go and look at the website, there's some new classes that just immediately grab my attention. I can't wait to watch them. Anna Lemke, who's amazing, has this great new class on dopamine called Take Your Brain Back. She is an incredibly knowledgeable person, a great writer, a great speaker. You will learn so much about how your brain works and how dopamine gets in the way. And there's a new class. I haven't even watched it yet. It's brand new. It's with Cal Newport. It's about rebuilding your focus and reclaiming your time. Okay, yeah, I need to rebuild my focus. I've been noticing that recently. There is something for everybody here, and it really is just so fabulous to learn how people do things well. With Masterclass, you learn from the best to become your best. They have plans starting at $10 a month, billed annually. You get unlimited access to over 200 classes taught by the world's the best business leaders, writers, chefs, and more. You can listen to them while you're commuting. You can listen to them while you're out walking, like I often do. Wherever you are, on your phone, your laptop, even your TV, Masterclass goes with you. There's no risk. Every membership comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. I'm headed out on a trip soon. I'm going to be on an airplane for a long time. I'm going to download the classes that I want to watch offline so that I can make the most of sitting on an airplane. Right now, our listeners get an additional 15% off any annual membership at masterclass.com/fluster. That's 15% off at masterclass.com/fluster. Masterclass.com/fluster.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW. Let us surprise you.
I did a huge clean out of my closet a few months ago. I just want to focus on pieces that I'm going to wear that are of high quality that I really love. For example, I just got the Mongolian cashmere beanie and matching gloves from Quince. Quince makes high quality wardrobe staples, and I want premium fabrics. I want organic cotton. I want Mongolian cashmere. I want also to use companies like Quince that work directly with safe, ethical factories. They cut out the middlemen. So you're not paying for brand markup or fancy retail stores. You're just paying for quality clothing. Quince is consistently rated 4.5 to 5 stars by their thousands of customers, real people wearing these pieces every day and actually loving them, like me. So stop waiting to build the wardrobe you actually want. You don't need a closet full of options. Get rid of the stuff that's not good quality that you don't wear, and spend your money smartly and ethically to fill your closet full of beautiful, high quality pieces. Right now, go to quince.com/fluster for free shipping and 365-day returns. That's a full year to wear it and love it. And you will. Now available in Canada, too. Don't keep settling for clothes that don't last. Go to quince.com/fluster for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/fluster. Okay, we're back. So just like with all the other anxiety disorders, what you resist persists. And the more that you are afraid of feeling these things, the more that you worry about the sensations coming, the more that you're worried that there's something physically wrong with you, the worse the problem is going to get. What very often happens is, say you have a panic attack in a meeting. You're in a meeting with people, you're sitting around a table in a meeting room, and you start having these symptoms. It gets embarrassing. You leave the room. You don't know what's going on. You felt sick to your stomach. All of those things that happen when our anxiety kicks off our fight or flight system. People say, well, I don't know why it happened. Doesn't really matter to me why it happened. Variety of reasons. For some reason, you felt vulnerable. You felt something was triggered in you that made you feel as if you were in danger. So then the next time you go into this meeting, the next time that you're going to be sitting around a table, the next time you're going to be conversing with people in some sort of setting like this, you are on edge. You are waiting to see whether or not you have these symptoms. You are monitoring yourself. You are paying attention, and you are hypervigilant about anything that might show up. Now, just being hypervigilant that you might have anxiety symptoms, guess what that does, Robin? Right. It gives you some of those symptoms. And as soon as you get a whiff of it, as soon as you get a hint of it, you start saying, oh no, oh no, oh no. The thing that makes a panic attack really just escalate and go off the rails is you saying something that seems pretty reasonable to say, but is you saying, oh no, not this again. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Your poor little brain is getting the message again that you're in danger. This is all about your brain getting the message that you're in danger. And so it juices you up some more. So your heart rate might even increase more. Your breathing gets a little more shallow. You start turning inward and paying attention to whatever physical symptoms you have. Maybe you notice that your stomach feels weird or your hands are sweaty. Maybe you start worrying that people are going to see that your armpits are sweaty. Your thinking becomes less sophisticated. You move into a primitive state of thinking. So now you're like, oh my gosh, I have to speak in a moment or somebody's going to call on me and I'm not going to be able to talk. And it just feeds on itself to the point where your body is absolutely juiced up, all systems going. Again, then you say, oh my gosh, now I'm going to die. Now I'm going to have a heart attack, and off you go.
We talked about this in another episode, and that was sort of a clear designation of what's the difference between, like, if you're about to give a really big presentation and you hate public speaking, it would be totally normal to have a very physically big response before you are waiting to stand up to the podium. Maybe a weird breath.
Dry mouth. Yep.
And then what is normal, like anxious response, to then really call it a panic attack. And it was like when you really think you're going to die.
Yeah. When you think you're having a heart attack, when you think you're going to pass out. And then what gets even more powerful sometimes is that you think you're going to make a fool of yourself when you pass out or when you die or when you poop your pants or whatever's going to happen. And so you sort of turn inward. Remember, anxiety is a very internal state. And so you start going in and you start telling the story of the emergency, the story of the catastrophe. And the problem with panic attacks is that the more that you tell the story and then the more that you resist, the more that you say, oh, no, 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 the more that your body does the very thing that you don't want your body to do, which is to start juicing you up to protect you from the attack of the tiger or the grizzly bear. And so it becomes a very fast and very self-fulfilling prophecy that generally starts with some little trigger or some little event that then gets out of control, that then now you feel helpless. You feel like this thing can get you at any moment. Your goal becomes to not feel this way. Of course, who wants to feel this way? This is the paradoxical nature of it. The more you do that, the more likely that you're going to feel this way.
The more I've learned about what they are, I don't think I've ever had one, but I don't know if you remember this. I have a very distinct memory having a pretty big heart palpitation kind of feeling. I was driving around the parking lot of my gym and I called you. And I tried to be really calm about it because this was before we did the podcast, but it was like, I have an anxiety specialist sister-in-law. So I was like, hey, how do I know if I'm just feeling anxious or I'm having cardiac symptoms, trying to be like all cool and calm. It passed and the symptoms went away. That was not a real panic attack. If I were really having a panic attack, which I have actually seen dear ones in my life have, what do you do?
In the moment when somebody is having a panic attack is the time when you can do the least and you need to do the least. So you want to pay attention ahead of time, which I'll get to in a minute, but let me talk about what happened. You're with somebody who's having a panic attack. Here's what you can do. You want to not tell them to calm down. You want to not focus on their breathing. And you want to not do things that we see as typically relaxing, and I'm making air quotes. When somebody is having a panic attack, they are desperately trying to calm themselves down, to get rid of the symptoms, to feel better. And if you're with somebody who's having a panic attack and you're saying, okay, and even if just a little bit in your voice, you're like, okay, just take some deep breaths. You need to calm down. You just need to relax. You're going to be fine. It's okay. It's okay. You are doing the same thing that they're doing in their head. And remember, what you resist persists. So the message you want to give them very simply is, I think you're having a panic attack. This will pass. I'm going to sit here with you until the adrenaline works through your system.
Right. Break it down physically.
Yep. I'm going to sit here with you until your amygdala, right? You can even say your amygdala just fired off, and they might be like not even hearing you. Remember, talk 85% less. But you just fired off your panic button, and your body right now is acting as if it's an emergency. It's not. So I'm just going to sit here with you, and we're just going to ride this wave together. You have to model, when you're with somebody, you have to model that you know it's not an emergency. You have to model that you aren't desperate, eager, uncomfortable, that you have to get them to stop feeling this way, that you have to get them to calm down. You've just got to be cool as a cucumber. You've got to be vanilla ice cream. You've got to be the voice of, I know exactly what this is, and we're just going to hang out here together. And the more that somebody tries to calm down, the more that they focus on their breathing, the more that they begin to believe that they have to distract themselves in some way to get rid of it, the worse that it gets. Because that's how panic disorder works. I have to have a list of techniques, a list of things that I do so that I don't feel this way. And if I do feel this way, I have to get rid of it. We want to be really paradoxical about it. We want to say, look, we know what's going on, and this is how your brain and your body are responding right now. Just a primitive system that got misfired, just like your smoke detector is going off, not because your house is on fire. Your smoke detector is going off because you forgot your bagel. So we're not going to act as if it's an emergency. When you, as somebody who is a witness to it, when you try and fix it, when you try and get rid of it, when you offer a lot of advice, all of that is just buying into this idea that, oh my gosh, there's something wrong and we need to fix it. And really what you need to do is just say, I'm just going to sit here. Your body's just freaking out a little bit, or your brain got a misfire, and I'm just going to sit here with you. The very nature of this question is, how do I get them through this faster? The way you get them through it faster is to not try and get them through it faster. That's sort of the weird paradox of this thing.
Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Well, it's tax season. Oh, this is one of those times when you're really looking at the big picture of your finances. You're seeing where your money's going, figuring out what your tax refund is going to be. You know, the goal is to make progress with your money, not just look back and wonder where it all went. Simplify your finances with Monarch. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or laptop. Feel aware and in control of your finances this tax season and get 50% off your Monarch subscription with code FLUSTER. Monarch gives you a complete picture. So when I'm using Monarch to see where my money is going, I can see what my budget is. I can see what debt I have. I'm paying attention to savings goals. The goal is to not feel badly when you look at your budget and your money progress. We want to make progress, not feel regret. Instead of tracking expenses and feeling bad about your spending, wouldn't you rather feel good? Wouldn't you rather feel like you're hitting those real milestones, that you're actually doing something for your own future? Unlike most other personal finance apps, Monarch is built to make you proactive, not just reactive. Achieve your financial goals for good with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes money management simple. Use code FLUSTER at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off at monarch.com, code FLUSTER. I've been paying so much more attention to the products that I use on my skin lately. It's probably because I'm getting older, and also it's the winter here in New Hampshire. So boy, if you're going to look wrinkly, you're going to look wrinkly in New Hampshire in the winter. I've been so enjoying the Osea products. I love the anti-aging Osea Dream Night Cream. I mean, like slathering it on my face. But I'll tell you, the Osea's Undario Algae Body Oil, it's one of their bestsellers for a reason. It was a 2025 Allure Best of Beauty winner. It feels so good. I put it on right out of the shower. My skin is just a little bit wet. I didn't used to use body oil when I was younger, but I'll tell you now, it feels fantastic. I put it on, I get dressed, my skin feels and looks better. It's less wrinkly. These products are clinically tested, and they are designed to deliver visible results. It's really become part of my skin ritual. They've done studies with women age 25 to 65, and 100% showed a significant improvement in moisturization and skin elasticity. 100% agreed that the skin looked firmer and less crepey. I'm looking for less crepey. And 100% agreed that their skin felt softer and smoother and more supple. I'm in that 100%. So get a spring-worthy glow with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now we have a special discount just for our listeners. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code FLUSTER at OseaMalibu.com.
Looking to transform how you work out? At the Sculpt Society, we have workouts for every stage of life, from pregnancy and postpartum to perimenopause and midlife. We offer life stage fitness programs, expert-led nutrition, and thousands of classes that help you enjoy movement and feel strong at every stage, all from home. Use code MEGAN30 for your first month free on thesculptsociety.com. That's thesculptsociety.com. And start wherever you are. A release is waiting.
Okay, so now back to the show.
So that's a really good piece of advice for family members and friends who, if you could be with when they have panic attacks. I have been in that situation before I did the podcast with you and kind of didn't know what to do at all. So I was like probably doing everything you don't do.
Sure. Well, that's very instinctive, isn't it? To try and help get rid of it.
Right. I'm going to calm. I want to help you get calm. I'm going to try and give you the certainty. One of the things that I have noticed in my work and in other relationships since we've done the podcast together is being really attuned to when people, am I talking to their anxiety or am I talking to them? Are they like in their zone? Are they really like in a moment of presence? Or is there worry and everything talking to me? Just because of like in my professional work, people will call me because they are worried about something. I have learned to really poker face it for when I'm being talked to by someone's worry. Because what else are you going to do? You don't want to give in to it. But this is like the ultimate test. Can you poker face the panic attack? And most parents, if they have a kid who's all of a sudden having a panic attack, they probably could have benefited from learning to poker face the worry before that moment. Although this is a more intense moment, what you're doing is really not that different from the other moments.
Right. The analogy I use for this is that if we're talking about, this person said a real panic attack, meaning that it's big and powerful and the symptoms are big and they think they're going to die and, it just looks messy. I say, okay, so the difference is whether or not you have a barking Chihuahua or a barking German Shepherd. It's still two dogs barking, and we don't need to treat them as if they're different species. We just need to treat them as if they're the same species with a louder bark or a smaller bark. And so oftentimes when the symptoms get bigger or the volume gets louder or the reactions look more dramatic, parents will often think, well, this must mean that there's something more. So you said my child has anxiety, but look at this. This is worse than that. And very often they'll abandon what we've been working on and feel like they need a whole different strategy or a whole different approach because it's bigger and louder and the symptoms are scarier or more intense. And that's not the case. It is the same cycle. It's the same process and we do the same thing. It's just that it feels bigger to everybody. And parents can often think, oh my gosh, you're talking about somebody who worries and you're talking about somebody who gets anxious. My child panics and they think they have to do a whole different thing. You don't. It's the very same thing, the very same approach. Let me tell you what the approach is. Let me remind you what the approach is that we do. You choose something on purpose that is going to make this reaction happen. On purpose, you are going to put yourself into a situation that you know is going to fire off this part of your brain. Because remember, the amygdala has emotional memory and it is trying to protect you. So if you've been telling it that elevators are death traps, it's going to act as if an elevator is a death trap. You're going to go into the situation on purpose because we want the response. We want the amygdala to get fired up. We want you to fire up your alarm system so that you can practice writing it out, so that you can give it a different message when it shows up. Because remember, here's what happens. In people who develop panic disorder, they start to have a little bit of a symptom and they go, oh no, not this again. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Here's what I want to have happen. Go into the elevator. Okay, I'm going to have the symptoms. And when they show up, you go, yep, good. I get to practice now. I get to practice being with this symptom and practice not escalating it. And the way that you don't escalate it is that you invite the symptoms to show up. This is paradoxical. Reed Wilson, my pal Reed, who I wrote the 2 books with, is just a master at this, of saying, bring it on, let's go, I need to practice. When you hang out with those symptoms, when you hang out with the start of the panic and you just observe it and you know that it's not going to kill you and you know that you're not actually having a heart attack and you know that you're not going to die, and you hang out and you become an observer of it, it will not jack itself up over and over and over again. You won't get caught in that self-perpetuating loop. Now, some people may be listening and saying, okay, how do I get my kid to do that? Well, they need to understand this. And I describe this to 5-year-olds. I describe it to 7-year-olds. I describe it to 62-year-olds. You have to be willing to step in and to not do anything that is designed to get rid of the symptom. Now, doesn't mean you hold your breath, but there are some people who say, okay, we're going to practice getting short of breath. There are therapies that do that. We're going to practice getting dizzy. We're going to put you in a chair and spin you around so that you get dizzy, and we're going to create the symptoms that you fear. I don't generally do that, but some people do. But I am going to have this family, I'm going to have this adult or this child step into a situation on purpose for the sole purpose of allowing them to experience a little bit of the symptom and not have that second panicky reaction. And it takes practice. It's what I had to do. If you go back and listen to the episode of us talking about fainting, which is really like my favorite episode, this is what I had to do.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I was going to bring that up. That's what's so cool. You always say this isn't really that complicated. So there are a lot of different scenarios, but it's still the same skills. It's still the same practice, still the same approach.
Yeah. And it was funny because I've had several experiences lately that I would have in the past had a really hard time with. And I just am so okay with the fact that at some point I might have, and a vasovagal reaction is different than a panic attack actually. And I don't know why, because a vasovagal reaction, your blood pressure does plummet. In a panic attack, your blood pressure goes up, but I don't know why. I mean, I can't explain that to you, somebody can. But I do the very same thing. is that when I'm in a situation where somebody starts talking about the thing that really makes me panic, which is bones.
I'm sorry. It's taken out of context. It's always so funny. Bones. Would you like a filet mignon or a T-bone steak?
Yeah.
It's orthopedic emergencies, I think is a better thing to say.
Yes, people talking about bones that are in places where they don't belong. My friend Michelle, who is on the podcast, Michelle Weiner-Davis, who's the amazing couples therapist, I was visiting her at her house in Boulder when I was out doing a trip recently. And if you're listening to this, Michelle, you had no idea this was going on inside of me. She was describing to me her shoulder replacement surgery in the most graphic detail. And as she was talking to me about this, I was just saying to myself, go ahead, let her talk about it. Go ahead. Listen, I was asking questions. I stayed curious. I didn't do anything. I used to oh my God, I have to get her off the subject, or I have to distract her to get her to talk to something else, or let me focus on my breathing. I was like, no, just let her talk about it. Go ahead. And if you faint, you faint. Big deal. I took all the pressure off myself and I was totally fine. And it was pretty disgusting in terms, if you don't like listening about orthopedic procedures. Do you know that show, The Pit? Have you been watching The Pit with Noah Wyle?
I know I'd like it, but I have not started it.
Okay, well, you would like it. And I was just telling my sister about it. And my sister is the total fainter. She's like Queen Fainty. She's like, I could not watch it. I said, you probably shouldn't watch it. I love it. It is so graphic. There are orthopedic emergencies. There are compound fractures. There are people's eyeballs hanging out. And on purpose, I watch it. And I just have trained myself to be like, I'm not playing this game. I just won't panic about it. I just have done so much exposure on purpose with this thing, purposely, on purpose, that it just doesn't have the power over me that it used to. And boy, did it have power over me.
Well, it's just such a testament to what it means to practice and build skills.
That's right. And it just takes time. People say, do you think you'll never faint again? No, I fainted. My son got his tonsils out and I was feeding him orange slushy. And I went down. I don't know why I fainted when I was feeding him orange slushy after his tonsillectomy, but I did. And, it happens. And the good news about that is that I fainted. They put me on a gurney. I came to. I was like, I do this. And I drove him home 10 minutes later. And in the old days, if I had fainted, it would have taken me out for the whole day. I would not have been able to recover. So I just go with it at this point. I will not give it power. When somebody is struggling with panic attacks, the way we keep the panic attacks powerful is that we try and get rid of them. We interpret them. We seek information about them. We go into a panic attack support group online where everybody tells you how to manage your panic attacks. It's just a panic attack. And I say that from somebody who has experienced majorly freak out physical symptoms because of a compound fracture or somebody talking about a broken wrist. You just have to say, look, we know what this is. It's okay. We're not going to do anything to try and get rid of it. We're going to practice making it show up. Very paradoxical, freaks people out at first, but I'll tell you, that's how we treat panic attacks, and it works.
It's also how you treat anxiety, because it's all about getting to the point of being able to give a really disdainful eye roll to the pattern that you used to have where anxiety had control.
Yep, that's right. If I can get people to practice things so that they know that they can handle it, even if they feel uncomfortable at first, because the goal is to feel uncomfortable, but they know they can get through it. And that's what we can say to our kids. I know this will make you feel uncomfortable, but you'll get through it. It really works. Here's the key. If you can get yourself or your family member, your child, or whoever you're trying to be a coach in this, if you can get them to do it willfully, on purpose, if you can get them to play this game, the results are pretty amazing. Because oftentimes they'll do what I call exposure with the brakes on. So they'll be like, well, we know this makes her anxious, but we have to go and get the blood draw. So we're just going to go. And they just start talking even before they get to the appointment. They start talking about it as an emergency. Or I know she gets worried about dogs, but we're going to go over and we're going to see the dog. And everybody's talking as if the dog is like on fire instead of being like, oh, good, there's a dog. Let's go up to the dog and see what happens. So there's a real attitudinal shift. The on purpose part is really important because that changes the framework in the brain. That changes the amygdala is not like, this is an emergency. The amygdala is like, okay, well, I guess we're going to go see a dog. And it takes practice. You can make it fun. You can make it a game. And you got to do it over and over and over again. But that's how people get over their panic disorder, is that they go into the situation on purpose. They anticipate they're going to have a response and they go, oh, good, I'm having this response and I don't have to do anything about it. I can handle it. Yeah.
Well, it's, you've done a lot for yourself here. You should be proud and pat yourself on the back, because it was hard work. It took many years to get to where you're at. You have a few setbacks. Who cares?
I don't care.
You just keep going.
Yeah. And now at this point, there's usually a funny story. There's some funny thing about it that happens. When I fainted at my son's tonsillectomy, we were joking about it before he went into the surgery because they ask, are you squeamish? And my son's like, no, but my mom passes out. I go, oh, I haven't done it for years, but if I do it, I do it. And so then when I passed out, the nurse from across the nursing station was like, she's a fainter. So everybody knew what was going on and nobody freaked out about it. Yeah, it's just something that happens. And I don't live my life like I used to. I don't live my life trying to prevent it from happening. And the irony is that when you stop trying to stop it from happening, it doesn't really happen very much. When you invite a panic attack, when you say, come on, panic, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go, it generally doesn't show up. It doesn't. Thanks for listening. And if you found this podcast helpful, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other people find this information.
And if you'd like to dig deeper on any of these topics, we have specialized playlists on our Spotify profile, and the link is in the show notes. Topics like teens, depression, and OCD. Bye, Lynn.
Bye, Robin.